Command, this is Firefighter 121. The exit is blocked. I might not make it out. The smoke is everywhere. It's getting harder to breathe.
It all started with a routine call, just another fire, or so they thought. The alarm rang through the station, breaking the silence. Within seconds, the team was up, gearing up for battle. At first glance, it looked like just another fire. But when the wind changed direction, everything spiraled out of control. The flames rose like a wall, turning the night into day. The crews rushed out of the trucks to begin their attack, but this fire was far bigger than they had imagined. The first response had begun. Crews were fighting the flames, but something wasn't right. The wind grew stronger, and suddenly, the fire was no longer in their control. Thick smoke swallowed the scene, reducing visibility to nothing. Then, one firefighter vanished into the haze. The smoke had swallowed everything. Visibility was nearly zero. Khan gripped his radio tightly, trying to reach his team, but only static filled the air. As he searched for an escape through the fire, his steps grew slower. His oxygen was running low. His eyes burned, his lungs filled with smoke as he pushed forward through the flames. His oxygen level had dropped to a critical point. There was nowhere left to go. Just as he was about to lose hope, a silhouette emerged through the thick smoke. A building, a cabin in the forest. Silencingly, the crackling of burning trees filled the air. Jack approached the cabin, standing alone amidst the blazing forest. Was anyone inside? Just as he turned to leave, a noise came from within. Faint, desperate, calling for help. Jack opened the door with trembling hands. The room was filled with smoke, but this wasn't just any fire. In front of him, a few terrified people stood frozen, their eyes locked onto him in desperation. The flames were closing in, and the oxygen was running out. They had to get out now. Jack opened the door with trembling hands. The room was filled with smoke, but this wasn't just any fire. In front of him, a few terrified people stood frozen, their eyes locked onto him in desperation. The flames were closing in, and the oxygen was running out. They had to get out now. Jack shouted, "Now, run!" The family rushed toward the door, pushing through the flames. Just as they were about to escape, a deep explosion rumbled beneath them. The underground propane tank. The family rushed through the door, but Jack was still inside. Just as he reached the exit, a massive explosion shook the cabin, tearing the walls apart. Flames shot up, debris scattered everywhere. Jack watched helplessly as his escape route vanished before his eyes. A static-filled voice crackled over the radio.
"Jack, your team is on the way. Hold on."
Jack lifted his head with the last of his strength. Through the thick smoke, lights flickered. A sign of rescue. Jack's radio crackled again.
"The team is coming in. Hold on, brother."
Through the dense smoke, silhouettes began to appear. The rescue team had finally arrived. Jack's vision blurred, but with one last effort, he raised his hand, signaling for help. Would he make it out? Jack drifted in and out of consciousness. The heat was unbearable, but then strong hands grabbed him. The firefighters reached him just in time, pulling his body from the wreckage. As flames roared behind him, Jack was finally safe but completely drained. Jack struggled to open his eyes, bright lights above him, muffled voices around. Sirens wailing, frantic voices calling out. Someone shouted, "Stay with us, man!" His lungs burned, but he was alive. He was on the edge of life and death. His eyelids felt heavy. Everything was white. A rhythmic beeping sound, muffled voices, distant whispers. Jack took a deep breath. His chest burned. It felt like the fire was still inside his lungs. He tried to remember. The fire, the family, the rescue. But he couldn't tell if it was real or just a dream. His eyelids felt heavy. Everything was white. A rhythmic beeping sound, muffled voices, distant whispers. Jack took a deep breath. His chest burned. It felt like the fire was still inside his lungs. He tried to remember. the fire, the family, the rescue. But he couldn't tell if it was real or just a dream.